Hi, my name is Lindsay Campbell, and I am doing my speech today for my communications class. Unfortunately, I did have a family emergency. My husband flew out to San Diego, so I have 4 people here instead of 5 due to the family emergency. And my little photographer is going to show you. We got people, and then, so there's 4. Unfortunately, the 5th could not make it, so. My speech today is on addiction, and there is this quote from a local nonprofit, and the quote is, "Together we rise and we live." This is a quote directly from the Phoenix, which is a nonprofit here locally that does help support addiction and alcoholism in all sorts of many ways, which we'll get into towards the end of this speech. When we think of the Phoenix, we think of this bird that has fallen and risen from the ashes. Also, when we think of addiction and alcoholism, there's not usually a face to it, unless you can think of someone that you know that has been, who has been affected by this disease. Here's a face of addiction and alcoholism. I do want to disclose that I am in recovery for over 19 years now, and this topic is very passionate to me. So, at the Phoenix, they offer the ability to let you go outside, to exercise as a group, to go to Montana is their latest endeavor that they did. They all just stayed in this large group and were able to support each other. And again, I'll give you all sorts of fun details about how to donate to them and how to help your fellow recovering person who that you know is suffering. We all know someone who is currently being affected or has been affected by this disease. If you think about it, we have friends, family members, loved ones, and all sorts of other people who we know. And we've probably thought, gosh, maybe they shouldn't drink that much, or I wish they wouldn't do this negative behavior. And the hard part with that is it's up to that individual person. So I believe, again, it is important to put a face to addiction and alcoholism. Alcoholism and drug addiction is considered a disease. A disease, per the dictionary and Merriam-Webster's dictionary, does state it's a disorder of structure or function in a human. It can affect animals, plants, especially one that produces specific signs or symptoms, and it can also be affected as a direct result of an injury. In the terms that we're using it today, it is affected in the human condition. It affects our mind, our body, and our spirit. A disease will continually cause harm without treatment as well. It affects several areas of lives, such as socially, vocationally, and relationships. With alcoholism, an approximate 88,000 people, which is 62,000 men, and 26,000 women die from alcohol-related deaths every single year. It is the 3rd leading preventable cause of deaths that we can prevent here in the United States. It's an average of 241 people. They die here every single day. That's a lot of people. Think about it. 241 people a day die from just alcoholism. That does not include drug addiction. 15.1 million people are affected by this disease. That's over 21% of Americans who are addicted to alcohol. The number does not include personal friends or family who are affected by this disease, such as the alcoholic who has caused harm to their friends, families, or loved ones. 1,825 college students just in this last year between the ages of 18 and 24 have died from alcohol-related accidents. That includes deaths, gun accidents, anything else that does involve alcohol being involved. 696,000 students between the ages of 18 and 24 are assaulted by someone else who has been drinking annually. 97,000 students between the ages of 18 and 24 report experiencing alcohol-related sexual assault or rape. Those numbers are astounding. 1 in 4 college students report academic consequences from drinking as well. and it affects their classes, how they attend them or don't if they're too hungover or don't feel well the next day, or even I do know some students that have gone to class while intoxicated. It does lower their grade point average overall. An estimated 70,000 people have died from drug overdoses in 2017. That's 66% of them were men, 34% were women or female. These figures are from an accumulation of opioids, prescription drugs, benzos like Xanax or Klonopin, prescribed medicines as well. 74% of those who have suffered from alcoholism also suffer from drug addiction. It's 3/4 of people who can identify as an alcoholic also have a dual diagnosis with drug dependency and addiction issues as well. Genetics do play a key role in being an addict or an alcoholic. 40 to 60% of our genetic code does encompass if we will or will not be an alcoholic or a drug addict. Environmental factors come into play, such as how you're raised in your family. Is it chaotic? Is it fun? Is it good? Is it healthy? Is it stressful? All sorts of different factors do come into play when it comes to alcoholism and drug addiction. Teenagers and people with mental health disorders are most at risk. These are harrowing statistics. They're absolutely devastating. The reality is that many of us face daily these issues, but there is a solution to the epidemic that I believe is in our society now. There's rehab facilities that are available. There's also 12-step programs, and there's also programs that are offered like through the Phoenix. So with that, insurance is accepted at these rehabilitations. If you have to pay for it out of pocket, it's anywhere between $12,000 to $60,000 for a 30-day program. That is for an inpatient facility. You also usually, for insurance to have to cover it, have to have a history of reported drug or alcohol abuse. You can't just show up and say, I feel like I have a problem, I need inpatient, unless you're willing to pay out of pocket for it. That's why I believe places like the Phoenix are absolutely vital to people who cannot afford those types of programs. There's outpatient treatment as well that's available. That's always a really good option, but that's about $5,000 to $10,000 out of pocket for a 3-month program. There's also 12-step meetings, which I do have to plug because I do attend them myself. They are free. They ask for a donation. It is not mandatory that you give $1 each time the basket goes around, and it is 12-step based. The Phoenix, though, offers group supports, activities. One of their events that they just did this last summer was they all got together as a sober community, went to Arizona and just played in the Red Rocks, rode bikes, hiked, did all sorts of really neat experiences that we all get to experience together while living a healthy new lifestyle. I'll go briefly into my story. I was raised in an alcoholic home. I was also raised in an abusive home. So I had the environmental factor, I have the genetic factor, and then I also had, the lack of ability to be raised in a healthy environment. So what that means is, I started drinking young. I destroyed my life young. I also cleaned my life up young. Again, I have 19 years of sobriety. I got sober at 18. And what that's done for me is give me the ability to have this happy, healthy life. I get to raise my kids. I get to own my own business. I get to be able to, live on this great little farm that I reside on. I get to be free. More than anything, I get to come and go as I please, and this disease does not define who I am. I won't allow it. So, the relapse prevention is such a vital, important part. If you hang around with people that are like-minded like you, you're probably going to do better. If you're a family member or friend, you can support an alcoholic or drug addict. Ways that we can do that is give them rights to meeting, encourage them not to drink even one time, or to even smoke one bowl if that's their issue. There's other options to be able to support them. You can encourage the Phoenix. You can encourage 12-step recovery programs. You can encourage and even give rides to them. You can love them unconditionally. We all suffer from something. This is the burden that I get to carry the rest of my life. But we all suffer from a human condition. And for me, sometimes that's not always graceful. It's not always beautiful. It's sometimes painful. And this is one of those situations that was painful for a long time in my life, but is no more because I am free. The other part that I would like to discuss a little bit is like our quality of life improves after we become contributing members of society. I have paid my taxes every single year since I've been sober. That's kind of a big deal because people like me don't usually work jobs, or go to school fruitfully at least and succeed. So for me, it's vital to get sober, to have a loving support network around you at the same time, to be able to fluctuate in this economy and be able to stay clean and sober the entire time, day by day. The only other thing that I would like to say in conclusion is that, this has been interesting. I don't normally have to memorize this speech or have key points, but people can and do recover if they have they have to want it more than anything. And then again, have that support network. And that's things that you can do to help. You can actually donate money to the Phoenix. They are a nationwide non-profit organization. Any money donated goes straight to helping the addict and the alcoholic recover. I just want to close with like a couple more points. We need to support them. They're vital in this community. They offer housing. They offer an entire gym for free that you can go to anytime. They offer yoga, trips out of town. They do all sorts of stuff that's available. So with that, I would love to close with their tagline, which is, together we rise, recovery, and live. Thank you.